A very good morning, children. How are you? I hope all of you are doing fine and taking good care of yourself. This is your SST teacher Sonia Verma from Springfields Public School. Let us continue with Geography, chapter number 1, Our Environment. In our last Zoom class, children, you have studied about the 4 domains of the Earth. First was the lithosphere, then was the hydrosphere, then was the atmosphere, and the narrow zone, this area where the lithosphere, hydrosphere, and atmosphere meet and interact with each other is called the biosphere. So now let us continue on page number 5 with our next topic, that is the ecosystem. All organisms, whether belonging to the plant or animal kingdoms, interact with each other and are interdependent on one another. So these organisms, they are dependent on each other, they interact with each other. They also interact with their physical environment. So the living organisms and the physical environment also interact with each other. The complex system of interactions between the organisms, that is the living component, and their physical environment, that is the non-living component, in a particular area is referred to as the ecosystem. The size of the ecosystems varies greatly. It can be as large as the rainforests, grasslands, deserts, lakes, rivers, or as small as a pond, as you can see in this picture. A typical pond ecosystem contains fish, frogs, algae, water lilies, and other species that live in and around the pond. Most of the ecosystems are complex and contain thousands of interacting species. These species interact with each other and also with the abiotic component. So now let us move on to one more topic of our chapter, that is the components of our environment, in which you can see the figure on page number 5. So we have already done the human-made environment. We had done the types of environment on the basis of origin, in which we had done the human-made environment. We have also done the natural environment, in which we have done the lithosphere, then atmosphere, hydrosphere, and the biosphere. So the third component of environment is human environment, in which we have the individual, family, community, religion, education, economic aspect is there, and political situation is there. So we will read something more about the human environment on page number 6. So let us start human environment on page number 6. Human beings are part of the environment in which they live. They are to an extent influenced by the environment. They are also able to adapt and modify the environment according to their needs. So the human beings, they fulfill their needs from the environment, and they also are able to change the environment according to their needs. With scientific and technological advancement, they have succeeded in controlling and dominating nature. The interaction of human beings with the environment is complex in nature. It varies from place to place and from time to time. So the human environment interaction explains how man affects the environment and is also affected by the environment. So it can be both positive and negative impacts of this kind of interaction. Let us move on to evolution of human beings. How human beings they have evolved, they have developed. Early humans adjusted themselves with the surroundings in which they lived because they were not able to change it. So they changed themselves. Most of their needs were fulfilled from the environmental sources. With time, the quality and quantity of human needs changed. So the needs kept on getting bigger and bigger. They started developing techniques and new ways to use the environment. In the past, humans settled in the fertile plains of the river valleys to cultivate land. They domesticated animals and learned to use fire for warmth and protection. The invention of the wheels, surplus food production, they were able to produce so much food grains that they had more than what they needed. They had surplus food production and exchange of surplus goods. So whatever extra they were producing, even other than food grains, they were able to exchange and they were able to fulfill each other's needs. So they were doing trading with each other. They were buying and selling goods, which led to trade, which helped them to progress. Gradually, humans started processing various raw materials to meet their needs. So they started to process those raw materials in the factories and fulfill their needs. The Industrial Revolution in Europe enabled large scale production of goods. So big factories were set up and they were able to produce the goods on a large scale. The means of transport and communication improved and the world became a family. Thus, many changes took place in our environment which were mostly due to natural processes and human activities. Let us move on to human environment interaction. In spite of all the developments, the physical environment still provides human beings with their material needs. So even after all the technological advancement, we are still dependent on the environment for fulfilling our needs. The primary activities, as you can see in this picture, farming, fishing, forestry and mining, these are the primary activities. Because from these activities, we get the raw material which is sent into factories for turning them into finished goods. So the primary activities farming, fishing, forestry and mining still provide food and raw materials, without which advanced societies also cannot survive and progress. Human beings and their activities also represent the greatest danger to the environment. Right from the dawn of human civilization, people have not only used nature for their existence and fulfillment of needs, but also exploited and misused it to a certain extent. Thus, they have disturbed the natural balance of the environment. Now, let us move on to environmental pollution. When the disturbances made by human beings in the environment are less, nature can easily repair and maintain it. But when the exploitation is on a large scale, nature fails to repair it. This creates problems not only for nature but also for human beings. Today, the whole world is facing various problems due to technological and scientific development on one hand, and overpopulation, urbanization, and industrialization on the other. Environmental pollution is a result of unplanned and unwise use of technology. A perfect balance is needed between the natural and human environment. A number of organizations, with the help of scientists, technologists, and planners, are working to solve the environmental problems facing the world. It is important that all of us understand and learn to live and use the environment in a harmonious, in a balanced way. Only then will a balance in nature be maintained. So, this is the end of the chapter, children. Take a reading of the chapter. That is all for today. Stay home, stay safe, take care. Thank you.